Great. Chief Phil Lane, welcome. Welcome, welcome.
Wonderful to be here. Wonderful to be here. And I want to thank our dear brother Laurentian for initiating this with this beautiful prayer, and of course, Sister Patricia sharing, and uh, our other relatives sharing beautiful teachings. And thank you so much. What I'd like to reflect on, if I might, at this time, is where we're at. We can see that day by day our human family is facing greater and greater challenges. And there's a lot of relatives that believe somehow that life is just a cycle always continually, you know, from boom to collapse to you might say happiness to unhappiness, and it's just continual like this. And so, you know, when we think like that, of course, we think they believe that we're just naturally uh, aggressive, that we'll never change, that war is in our nature, that conflict is in our nature. And it just goes on, it'll go on forever like that. And that's one point of looking at this. And we have these great thinkers like Ray Dalio, who's the wealthiest hedge fund manager company in the world, Bridgewater Associates, because they've been able to hedge against when we collapse. And he studied the last 500 years. And we have another gentleman, Yuval Harari, who's printed over 50 million books that says essentially it's our nature to fight. We'll never change. And so what they see us as is like, and it's true, like our cobra relatives, they're cobras. You know, they're going to bite you. That's their nature. Or a lion. I mean, a lion's a lion. But the one thing we have is we can completely change our consciousness. We can completely go from one stage to another, just like we go from infancy to childhood to adolescence and now adulthood. So as I'm seeing it, and all our prophecies talk about we'd go through this time, is we're now leaving collectively, just like individually we go through these stages. We're collectively leaving our adolescence and now coming into our spiritual adulthood, the beginning of this era of peace and harmony that's been foretold and promised by all faith traditions. And really interesting that one of the core things that right now there's 45,000 different Christian denominations. But one thing everybody agrees on is the Lord's Prayer. And I always think about that Lord's Prayer. It says, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." So we can see that. And then we see, of course, Black Elk talking about the sacred hoop of many hoops. And these two men coming from the east, flying like arrows with the daybreak star, with four blossoms, red, yellow, black, and white, of course, symbolizing humanity. They said, with this herb of understanding, which I understand to be, I mean, in anything spiritual has multiple understandings, understanding humanity, understanding who we are, and dropped upon the earth, there was no more darkness. So obviously, we can also see stages change as well that are not, we can see we began as families. That's the core foundation, families. Then we have tribes, and of course tribal societies. We can see the beauty of tribal societies. And then they move to city states because there's things tribes couldn't do that city states did. And then you see nations emerge all over Mother Earth. We have nations. And these city states, by the way, were here in the Americas. They were everywhere. We had city state down in what's now Mexico City with our Aztec relatives, or in Cusco with our Inca relatives. And who knows the covered up civilizations that we don't even know about. But now, so we know, can see now with what's going on, that there's no way nations by themselves can address what we have to address as a human family. at least historically, this is the first time we've been to this place where we have the capacity to communicate with each other everywhere. So what I'm saying is that I believe that we're moving towards a whole new planetary civilization. And this we're going through is the birth pangs of the birth pangs of this transformation that's going on. I want to add one other thing too, because our teachings from our Dakota perspective teach us, and when we come before the elders when we leave this world, symbolically, and they ask us, why did you do this or why did you do that if we didn't walk quite the right way? And I start blaming, oh, Lorian didn't do the right prayer, and so I got upset or whatever, you know. Elders are going to say, no, nobody can condition your soul except your own self. So what I want to suggest here, and I think it's so important, and we can apply this not just to indigenous people of Abiyala, of the Americas, but I think to human beings many everywhere. But I do not believe that our beloved Creator, our incredible, this Creator of all good things, this great mystery, would punish us for doing the very best we could to live in harmony with Mother Earth and all living things and our relatives. We did the best we could, and I'm sure others did the best they could. I believe this has all been a preparation for what we have to do in this world today. The forgiveness that we have despite what's happened, that forgiveness, power of forgiveness is a powerful, powerful force. And so I just want to say that, and I think that just like when we were conceived into this world, and I believe we were conceived, each of us, as sovereignty, ancient and perishable and everlasting. We went through all kinds of shapes and forms inside our mother's womb, in our womb suit. We were growing our growing our physical arms and legs and eyes and ears. And we went through all kinds of shapes and forms. In fact, there's no question at different stages unless you're trained, you can't tell the difference between a pig fetus and a human fetus. But we've always been human. And so sure enough, when it comes time, pretty soon we start doing our isometrics and kicking again against our mother's stomach and getting ready. And then we make the journey and down the birth canal, just like we're in right now. Collectively, we're in that same journey. And here we go through the birth canal and we leave behind our womb suit. And all of a sudden we have our earth suit. But is this earth suit really, really what it is? It's just simply a way for my soul. Really, we call it the other part of us, the spiritual part of us, that dimension that's connected to a world beyond the world of time and space. This utilizes this physical body to experience here. So what's my purpose here? My purpose here, just like in the mother's womb, was to grow our physical arms and legs and eyes and ears. Our purpose here is to grow our spiritual arms and legs and eyes and ears. To learn how to be more kind, more compassionate, more loving, more forgiving, more humble, more just. And so the more challenges you have in this area, the stronger you're going to get. So I think that being able to step out of any feeling of being a victim and knowing we've been given this incredible life. I just loved it when Brother Lorian at the very beginning, his whole prayer was thanksgiving, was thanking. And so we have from our relatives over in the Iroquois Confederacy, the great law. It's all about thanksgiving. Thanksgiving to the animals, thanksgiving to all life, thanksgiving. So we want to be thankful for this day. We've come now, we're getting a chance to witness which all the sacred prophecies have promised. And it's right here before us, right now and here. And more every day, people are awakening to the fact that the old systems that carried us this far are no longer able to do so. They're collapsing around us. And so we have a choice. Last thing I want to say, we have a choice. We can come together just like this beautiful new moon ceremony. And for us, this new moon is the new beginning. In a way, it's like being reborn, if you can look at it like that. And we go through, and then we go through the up to the full moon, it's like summer. full, and we have the harvest. But then we go back again into darkness again to the wintertime. It's a cycle. So what's happening with the new moon is like we have new moons. We have to see this as a new moon and mark it as a new moon, as a new beginning, as a new time for us to go through. And then also know that we're gonna, just like a new moon, you're gonna hit that full moon, and we're gonna probably go through some things, and that's all not gonna all be up. We keep going, and then the cycle goes even. It's kind of like, I see it like this, I should say. It's kind of like a spiral going up, carrying on an ever advancing civilization, so to speak, spiritually. So I just want to say that much and say, I'm just God bless you for all this good work you've done.